Now, for the past couple of days, delegates from over 100 countries have been meeting in Durban, South Africa for the World Economic Forum on Africa. Today marks the last day of meetings there. Financial inclusion, unemployment and increasing the bottom line for African economies were all issues at the forefront of the discussions. 3 social entrepreneurs have been honored for their work in reducing poverty on the continent. Well, Ramanyang has been covering the World Economic Forum for us in Durban. He joins us live now. Rama, as the conference comes to a close today, what solutions have been put forth for the lack of inclusive growth in sub-Saharan economies?
Yes, indeed, Mahir. That lack of inclusive growth is a continuing problem for a lot of economies in sub-Saharan Africa. And the couple of things that have been talked about here, one of the key things that has been focused on, especially in the last couple of sessions today, is the need to actually ensure that a lot more people have access to the financial products and services they need at their convenience, at a decent cost as well. Increasing access to those services and the opportunity to actually then leverage those into better trade opportunities and more jobs is extraordinarily important if we're actually going to reduce poverty levels here and increase, of course, aggregate incomes right across the board. Now, of course, you did mention the question of inequality a little earlier on, and it's perhaps fitting that we talk about that given that we are in Durban. This, of course, is a pretty significant tourist attraction. It's home to South Africa's largest single port facility. But the wider province in which it's based, KwaZulu-Natal, is mostly rural and underdeveloped. So for communities over here, an event like this, the World Economic Forum, can be a pretty big deal. Earlier on, Sumitra Naidu went out to find out exactly how big a deal it is to the locals.
Msinga is a poor rural area in KwaZulu-Natal. The community is mostly female after many husbands and fathers died in faction fighting over 20 years ago. Social entrepreneur Tandiwe Madondo started a maize farming cooperative in 2005 to help the women create sustainable incomes. But high input costs, adverse weather conditions and limited market access often makes it difficult.
It caters for poverty alleviation. As people have got fields, they have to plow, and then if they want to sell their millets to a cooperative, because we've got a milling plant now, they can sell to us.
The nearest town is around 70 kilometers away, and finding a reliable market is challenging. The recent drought caused smaller and in some cases no crops.
The inputs are the seeds, fertilizer, chemicals and diesel. The problem is that they are expensive. And our cooperative, we plow up to 400 hectares. And when it has been hard hit by drought, there is no money that comes in that can cover the costs to plow for the next season.
Without sufficient rain and proper infrastructure, even subsistence farming is a problem.
Although we have a river next to our garden, it dries up, and we are desperate to have an irrigation system installed because that's the main problem. We plow and sell, but this is affected by the dry conditions.
Just 300 kilometers away, delegates are meeting at the World Economic Forum here in Durban to discuss issues like the ones being experienced in Msinga. But Msinga, like most other communities across South Africa, feel like these gatherings don't impact them. They just don't see the benefit.
If this forum can be able to help us with the working capital, which is most important. You might have the seeds, you might have the plants, you might have the equipment, but then if you don't have money to pay for the people who will be helping you, it will be lying there and rotting.
Global inequality levels remain elevated, with women and children the most affected. Without proper government intervention, private sector investment and real grassroots solutions from gatherings like the World Economic Forum, these women and generations to come will continue to live in the cycle of poverty. Sumitra Naidu, CGTN, Durban, South Africa.
Right, and of course now Sumitra's package there covered pretty much the main themes that we've been talking about at the World Economic Forum pretty much for a couple of years now. The same themes cropped up last year in Kigali. How do you create more jobs? How to prepare today's youth population, as it were, to be a lot more skilled for a better future, one that will of course perhaps have a lot more automation to deal with as well. Those same issues have been dealt with here, with inclusion of course of inclusive growth. Will these answers come into the economy, into the real economy, to change people's lives? That's a question that is still yet to be answered. Mahia, back to you.
Right, Rama, thank you very much for those updates. CGTN's Ramanyang joining us live there from Durban. They will, of course, continue to keep us updated on the final day of the World Economic Forum for Africa.